you keep mixing. Now comes this cool guy, surfing here, Dan Lawless, straightening things up. A pro here, Dan Lawless. Dan, 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 dan. Dan, 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 dan. Straightening things up. His name is Dan Lawless. Dan, 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 dan. Dan, 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 dan. Straightening things up. His name is Dan Lawless.
Hey everybody, going to draw some or do some tweaking today on this image sent to me by Jonah Sweet, and he said the two words that every art teacher wants to hear: just go to town with it and be brutal. Be brutal was the words he said. And like, okay, that's what I want to hear, because that means that's a guy who wants to learn. He's hungry. He'll be successful in anything he does because the attitude is there, the desire to learn something new, not stuck in your ways like I am, and actually will be probably able to do some good artwork. So let's see. First thing I want to do is look at this image and see what's working. Well, the poses are great. The poses are great. The action is great. Great energy. Really, the only thing that I think is that could use some help on this is just the knowledge, just the anatomical and facial construction knowledge, and maybe a little bit of the understanding of what you can do. I mean, this is okay. This is the way he's shaded everything. It's kind of a brushed metal, and that's cool. You can do that, but I think I'm going to try some different alternatives to that. But let's I want to tackle just some of the you'll see some minor adjustments I'll do here, like on this leg and things like that, and the faces to to give this thing a just a little more sort of anatomical correctness, which is because he's basically Jonah is doing a realistic style here, dynamic realism, I would call it. And when you're doing realism, you kind of got to draw those things accurately. So let's go into the liquefied tool, and we shall make those adjustments a little more easily. I made a copy over here of it, and so let's go do that. Okay, now we are in the liquefy tool, which is it's a drop down menu in Photoshop. Really good tool. So let's zoom in and just take a look. I'll show you things that I might do right away. Pretty simple things using one of these move tools. I can see like this thigh is just a little bit, see, it's so minor, but it's a little bit wide. And this probably could come in a little bit more like that. And this is just knowledge from drawing, from studying anatomy, studying, other comic artists, other. Now you use your bracket keys to lower and to make these larger and smaller, stuff like that. So that's good. That's just see how minor some of this stuff is. Little tweaks I'm making. See, the butt's a little big here, a little rounded. See, just subtlety. See how subtle it is. It makes a difference. I know I've memorized just what all these contours are doing. From you memorize the shape of every leg muscle from every angle. It's memorization, just like you're learning a language. You're learning the language of anatomy. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just got to look kind of right. So we're getting rid of sort of the thunder thighs on this guy a little bit. So maybe make that butt a little rounder, perhaps. And there's a lot of choices I'm making too when I'm doing this stuff. This is a little trickier because I want to pull this out and make this, and it's hard to get in there with that tool. Um, okay, let's look at her. See, just again, certain things I just kind of like feel like, oh, that's just a little bit. See how little the adjustments are in there? Just touches. This arm may be a little short on this side. See to compare the two sides. Now this one I know is closer to you, but it's still they should probably be the same length. If I was him, I'd redraw this arm to be about the same length as that arm. This arm looks about the right length for her body. Again, subtleties of this. Another thing too is this is a pretty big butt, pretty big. So you want to reduce that size. This point is a bit pointed here. The leg itself is a tad long. See this. Well, I don't know what this is going on here with this straight line going, this curved line going in like that. There's no reason for it. The bone is kind of straight. It's underneath it. You're seeing it through the body, through the skin. It should be pretty much a straight line. Then I'll bring these in. Okay, but most importantly, though, really is the faces. So let's move on the faces. Now, what I recommend is that everybody get these heads. And they're so useful for an angle. When you're trying to get a weird angle like that, okay, that's the angle. You can take a shot with your cell phone, scan it in, and then you got the correct positioning. And it's just a starting point. It isn't a finishing point. It's a starting point. And learn the angles. You start to learn it. You won't even need these after a while because you'll know you have the knowledge, the memorization in your head. So let's think about. I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to use my own knowledge here of what I know about figure drawing, and I can kind of just play with it. See, I feel like this, just this nose needs to be a little bit farther down here. Perhaps bring this cheek down a little bit like this. Now to see the eyes are different sizes. I'm actually going to try this. Where's this? That's the blow tool. I want the pucker tool. I'm gonna give it one tap, see what happens. Okay, now see right away they're closer in size. And I'm gonna go back to this move tool and kind of see if I can enlarge this one a little bit. Eyebrows too long here. Watch any kind of crevices on a woman's face. The mouth, I think it needs to be up a little bit more like this. Chin. You see, all these things are really subtle that I'm doing. I'll move the eye down a little bit here. Forehead needs to be round. Make sure that's a nice rounded shape. No. So I'm playing with it. I don't know exactly what it looks like. I'm just going, oh, does that look good? Does that look good? I'm making a million little decisions in my head as I'm working on it. Now, our head itself is not connected quite right to the body. It should be over a little more, but I'll fix that later. Let's look at him. Okay, there's a few issues. I think actually, let me just make a couple adjustments, but I might make more adjustments in the regular Photoshop. But I know I want more forehead, a little more forehead, a little bit rounder. Don't get this too, give him a little bit little bit more forehead exposure. That's good. But I think I know how I'm gonna fix that. Let's see, how am I doing now? How about this guy's face? Maybe just a few adjustments here. Pull back the chin a little bit. He's looking down, so this chin here, this jaw here should be the same on this side. You should go draw that right across. So the same height. There's not much distance between the teeth and the jaw down here. I want to give him a little more. Now, people tend to think I draw bigger jaws, but that's comics to me. This eye is much larger than the other one. Let me see if I can do a little bit, tiny bit of a blow tool. And let's see if I can make it just a tad bigger. And now they're matched. Okay, good. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to do in the liquify tool. Not really. Okay, I'm going to close that. Okay, push OK. Okay, I'm back in the Photoshop file, or regular Photoshop, not the liquify section. Let's see how the faces do. See, just a little bit of adjustment on that face, and now we're talking. That's all. It's just missing knowledge, just subtleties. Now, what I want to do with this face up here, that the reason I'm doing it in the, I didn't do it in the regular liquefied part. Now, his whole head, I can tell it's just drawn off a little bit funny. Now, some of this can happen when you're looking at your paper from an angle. So I'm going to take this, take the command, and I want to try to just move this. Where is it? Why can't I grab that? Oh, it's a bullet. Okay, you see how I'm straightening up the head a little bit? It was leaning back a little bit too much. I think that's more correct. Let's see how I did. Yeah, see how one's swept back a little bit too much, and now that's forward. Okay, but let's take a look now. Once I'm in on these faces, what I could do just to give them a little more power. Think of the eyes. As a matter of fact, let's tackle the girl face first, and so I can kind of get that's a little more obvious, and I'll apply those same rules to the male face. Think of it when you have that these are eyeballs. This is so helpful to think that there's an eyeball in here, 2 eyeballs. And the way the skin stretches over those eyeballs is important. So I'm going to reduce the opacity of that, just so you get an idea what I'm trying to do. So I'm thinking about these eyeballs and the way the skin flows over it, the folds of the eye. And now here's the thing too. So many guys don't do this. Is hit this girl with mascara. Really give her good eyelashes. That's why women use that mascara. It thickens it up. It makes it more attractive. Eyelids. Define the eyelids. The skin is folding right here over the ball, over the eye. Now you got to study eyes from this position, study eyes from that position. There's two different, because when you're drawing it from one side, it's going to look like this, but from the other side over here, this gets flattened out because you're looking at that direction, and it does more of it like that, like a. So you're not drawing exactly the same shape of the eye. So I want this line here. This line is here because it's pointing towards you. It's going to be less of a line, less of a curved line or a long line. Now I want the eyeball again so I'm going to open that eye up just a little bit or turn it up a little bit higher. Give her a little more exotic feel. Wait a minute. I got to draw over this with some white. Just so when you draw a line straight across, everything should kind of line up, So if this is where the edge is here, you want it to be right here coming out on this side. Okay, the nose, you see a little more of the nostril from this angle. A little more of the underside of the nose. Remember, this tilts down, goes into the lips. Watch the eyebrow size. Make sure they're not too thick. Watch the eyebrow length. Subtleties is important with a woman. Now notice this eye is going like this. You want to put that one like that. So again, it's going across here. These should line up. So the top of the eyebrow here, top of the eyebrow there. Okay, the lips, think about that. You don't really get a highlight right there necessarily. I'm going to pull this lip back a little bit more like that. So again, all this is just knowledge that I've accumulated. Now, what the whole thing is doing, I notice a lot of in the way you've rendered everything, is there's very little. It's all shaded soft, and a lot of times you want to think about a little more shapes in the shadows, not so much, not so much in the not so much in softness. A little more hard, allowed to be a little harder in the shadows. I'm not sure. Does Lilith have light eyebrows? I don't know, but I wanted to find it a little bit right now. I may actually do this just to give it more shape and power. Okay, the neckline here is very thick. Want to kind of soften that up quite a bit. Reduce it in size, not so thick around. You want your thick lines to be on the outside, the perimeter of your person, but not as much when it gets in the interior. All these interior lines, they should all be thin. So thick and thin. Thick defines the outside perimeter of the shape. The interior ones are much thinner. That's what gives your art sophistication. As a matter of fact, if I'm doing a line art, you'll see this in Adam Hughes' work and stuff. He'll often make these interior lines colored and softened, so they're grayer. Everything about a woman is soft. But again, think of makeup. Think of what girls do. They put this eyeliner on it because it makes it pops out. Nose lines, keep them soft. Keep them interior lines, especially on a woman. This is too thick. See, I would kind of watch it, or make them thick and thin. Alternate a little bit. Think about the hair. It's going along this line too. You want follow this shape a little more like that. The temple, it comes in the temple like that. So see, now it's flowing out of her head a little bit more nicely. Now the head itself, I may have to actually combine these layers. Get rid of this. So I'm going to take and combine it with this layer here because I want to move it, all of it. Not just what I drew over it, but okay. I'm going to take that. I want to get a lot of it because I want the background to be. Because there's something behind it. So I got to move it in such a way that grab enough that background so it doesn't hurt anything. Okay, moving it probably about here. Again, this is. I know that the distance between here, this neck part is right. Okay, and let me see about the head size too. I want to see, is the head size, could it be smaller? No, it's about right. Seems good. Okay, let's deselect that. Now I'm going to put this line, in here where it kind of belongs. And this line over here. So see, I knew again from experience that from this angle, you'll see the line will be right about there, not where it is here. So the head was just a little bit off to me. Okay, this is looking good. I think it's pretty cool. I might be tempted to make it to give her a little more yell, but just give her a little more expression. But this is fine. It's perfectly excellent. Yeah. Okay, watch the thickness of these lines. You can even when you're doing outside holding, they call them holding lines. You still might want to do a little bit of a thick to thin, not the same weight around the whole thing. Let's see how I did. Okay, you can see it's kind of coming together. At least the way, in my style, I feel like that head could just be a little smaller. Let's try that. Just a tad. Give it a little bit more heroic proportions there. Okay, that's good. Let's think about the hair. Now, the hair, you really want to make it, thick and rich, and first off, some of it you should see from the other side. This is all flowing, but give it some shape, give it some mass, like it's one shape. You've got like a lot of wisp coming up here. Combine some of these wisps and play with it. Like, oh, that's a shape right there. That's a chunk. So it gives the weight, the hair more weight, and maybe this flows out of that. Look at Adam Hughes for hair. He's great. You'll start to learn about curves. I learned a lot from looking at his work. So let's think about really combine it, and then you give the hair some shine. Like you're almost shiny and doing metal. All right, let's see. I got this. So I'm playing. Hair's fun because you can just play around with it till it looks good to you. But I'm thinking of it as a chunk. Now it's pretty. It's really going pretty much straight up. Again, I think I would. You want to get it so it looks healthy, not like she's going through chemotherapy or something and losing her hair. I'm playing with it. Let's see. Maybe add a few kind of wisps that come out like this, but in a kind of a nice shape, and give it some interesting flavor. Let's see how that looks. It's getting there. Sometimes you pull back and you can see them. You can't see the forest through the trees. You got to pull back and play around with it as a one piece. So I think you're getting the idea. I'm not going to spend all day on it, but a few wisps coming out, maybe that helps give a little more flavor. It's not perfect, but I just think about the overall shape. Oops. Whoops. Now let's look at just the facial features. Watch the nose stuff. Any shading around the nose, even though it's correct on a woman, keep these lines off of them. Really try to avoid them. Mostly, you really want only a few lines defining her face. You want the darkness to be in the eyes, eyebrows, and then the mouth, and then the like I even though see that I can take that down a little bit. That's fine. Now, if you want more intensity in the eyebrow, you can bring it in a little bit, but don't bring it down too far like this. That all of a sudden she gets older. You can kind of keep that intense. So I feel like I would want to widen this just give it a little more yell. Yeah, watch these lines here. Keep them light, keep them nice, especially around the hair. Want that nice and round, nice round skull. Think of a skull. Round. A little bit more eyeliner here, kind of. You don't draw individual eyelashes though. Rarely. I mean, it's best to think of them as a chunk, a shape. Pretty thick though. See how thick those eyelashes get? So that's kind of what I'm thinking of here. For him, let's take a look at him. What can we do with him for? Now his mouth here, it's a little bit too down, I feel like, for this position. I'm going to do some quick corrections on this. Wait a second. There's my brush. I always have my option key so I can grab something. I can grab that black right there. Not to constantly go over there. So let's think about those eyeballs in there. Wrapping around the eyeball. Again, from this angle, you're going to see a little more of the nostril, but a little less of the nostril on this side. It's important that now here's the thing where all these lines are really soft. I want you to start hardening them up a little bit. Think of, especially on a male, think about a real solid chunk, a more solid line. Wait a minute. I'm working on something that's I'm working on this layer that's bad. Hang on a second. I got to get rid of that. Or I don't want to lose all the work I just did. Let's see. Because I dimmed it down to 40%. Get over here. Erase that. Get back to this guy. I was wondering, why is it not covering well? Okay, again, think of the skull. It is round. A lot of is in the mouth here is just a little bit too downcast. You're getting lit from below. Now think about and this is where one of these little models is useful because you can shine a light on something and get the shadows. So you have right now, and you have a kind of a light coming in from below. And so we're lit from below a little bit. You want to think about, the roundness of that shape. And then this might get lit up like a shadow, cast a shadow like that on it. And maybe even a shadow on this part of it. Think what parts of the face are getting hit by light. Think about the skull underneath. Think of the shape of a skull. And then from this angle, might indent a little bit like that. I want to pull it across. Now you think about the other light is hitting it from this side, so you may catch a little bit of the top of the skull, a little bit of the temple, and the cheekbone. Something more like that. And this cheekbone sort of comes out here. Jaw down a little bit more, something like that. I want a little more intensity in the eyebrows. We're trying to get that. You had intensity. I'm trying not to lose it as I work on this. because I'm doing some corrections here, and sometimes when you go realism, you lose power, and I don't want to lose the power that you had in this. Let's see how I'm doing. Okay, it seems to be working. Again, I feel like the neck is not quite farther enough over, but that's okay because he can be a thick neck guy, so I can just make it larger on this side. Okay, let's think about, we have the eyebrow that can be in sort of some shadows here, but the head is getting hit with light from this angle. So this is a tricky thing for me to draw because I want to pull out some reference to get it right, and I'm just doing it by memory. I'm trying to get it right, which I can do, but it requires all my thinking skills here. So I'm playing with it back and forth, to get it to the point where it's look. Sometimes you just say, does it look right? Even if it's not right, sometimes it can just look right. Let me try to give you. I want to match your style a little bit with the thickness of the line here. Now with black hair, and that's his black hair, I believe. Yeah, watch the subtleties in the grays. You don't want to make them. You don't want to make as soon as these get too light, you got yourself brown hair. Again, I would kind of think of more of a simple shape. Take some of these guys out. I mean, that can be a style, but what I'm sensing with your work is that you want to go into the realism approach. So you kind of make a chunk, and then maybe a few wisps. Keep them, give them that, keep them having that male haircut. So a lot of the wisp will be more in the front bangs coming back rather than here in the side. You can do a little bit of side stuff, I suppose. I don't know. I think I just may ruin your hair, but it's looking kind of stupid. Looking a little bit like the young Frankenstein, that lady. Something like that, maybe. That's not too bad. Anyways, you get the idea. I think keep this. This is getting hit back here with the muscles. So yeah, it's tricky to light a figure or face from this angle. So be careful when you do it. Get some reference so you can get it right. The hairline will be a little bit closer down because of the angle. All right, let me see how I did. Let me combine these two. Okay. Well, I tried, but I'm afraid I lost some of your initial feel. So, see, this is it. It's you think it's easy. It's not easy. You got to kind of work it and keep working it, and getting it to the point where you have that intensity that you have in it. So I may work on this for quite a while to get it right. I think with Professor Blood, he's kind of got a longer face. I think I want to put a few like wisp in here a little bit more. How's that? That's not that bad. Needs work. It's a difficult angle to draw. It really is. Okay. All right. Let's see if if this will work good enough though for now. I wonder if his head actually needs to be a little bit bigger. Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Well, you can see, even with the knowledge I have, it's like I struggle. So why'd you pick such a difficult thing? I don't know. No, it's good. I like to be challenged. But it's funny, just a slight movement, slight adjustment here or there, wherever, and all of a sudden, hey, that looks right now. It's like it's that subtle, it's that difficult, it's that it's that um let's see, I get this face here. I wanted more intensity. That's the only thing. It looks like it's smiling a little bit too much. Hmm. Okay. Well, I could be here all day, so I'm gonna have to let that go. I think the head just needs to be a little bit bigger. That's my feeling. So maybe just to give it a little more impact. Usually, you want to make the faces smaller. I guess I really want to see that face, that facial expression. I made it just a little bit bigger, so that's not bad. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, you gave me a real challenge here to get this guy. Okay, let's let that go. Um, let's look at the metallic surfaces because a lot of this is I've noticed you kind of got a brushed aluminum, which is fine, but just know what you can do if you want something to look really shiny. Think of a hard line across it. As soon as you put a hard line on something, it looks like the reflection of it gets highly reflected, which sort of mimicking the um, horizon line. That's what I notice mostly in your work is the way you're shading things. Everything's soft. So when you're doing metallic surfaces, you can do soft, but throw in a couple, hard edges too to give it a little more if you want more shine. And then just sometimes just to indicate that it's a little bit of a metallic surface, you can throw a few like kind of scratches in there with the light pen, light. That just gives you a feeling, okay, it's not perfectly, it's been beat up a little bit or something like that. Sometimes just a solid shape below. And then you have a real shine. See, it's starting to look like it's really popping and it's shining. Because if you want, it looks to me like you really are interested in the shine of it. So now that's pretty shiny. Start thinking about how things shine when they're. You could think of a Christmas ornament. How hard it reflects all the edges, very hard, sharp edges. In some cases, sharp and soft combined. Same thing here. You've got no there's no hard edge in these in these lines. But as soon as you put like a nice sharp edge, that's where you see like comic guys. They just draw a solid line and it looks shiny. It's actually realistic. So it's maybe reflecting the thickness. So you can see how that's more of a shine. It looks shinier. And then once you got that, then you can go in with your whites and do a hot spot. Then that would be on edges, things like this. Real sharp, real edge, real. Maybe over here, one here. The light is reflecting off the very edge of that. You see this on car ads, car design and stuff like that. So now we're talking about something pretty darn shiny. I could pull this back a little bit too. It's a little bit too dark, perhaps. It can be completely dark. It can be somewhat dark. Anything goes, really. Okay, now let's think about here. See how you shaded this stuff too. It looks cool, but I would go in here and really just think about this stuff more as solid shapes. Solid shapes. You've got all the elements, all the drawing is in there, but just sharpen them up. I really want to see the dark shadows, hard shadows. And where's the light hitting it? Right about there. Okay. There's a. I might make the nose a little bit darker or a little bit bigger, and the hole a little bit bigger. Watch the teeth here. You can let some of these lines disappear a little bit. A lot of times it's give and take with the line work that gives it a little more subtlety to it. Make that eyebrow come out a little more. Maybe. Okay. So you got a dark line right here. What's that mean? Does it mean there's light coming from this direction or that direction? You have light kind of coming from the top, so it could be that. Make that consistent. Light's coming in, hitting the maybe a little shadow underneath the teeth, perhaps, but you make it into a shape. All these have you've kind of got it's again it's almost like too dark. when you're drawing stuff, don't think of like the individual teeth so much. Think of one shape, and then you add your little bit of lines in between. Again, I would take this and these all these shapes here, they're all in there, they all look good. Just sharpen up a little bit. It's almost like they're out of focus. You're trying to bring it into focus. All right, let me see how this looks. All right, how did I do? Well, it's interesting, and it's not necessarily an improvement, and then it depends on your opinion, I suppose. I want to bring this jaw down. Again, I tend to draw bigger jaws. Maybe make this, really stretching, like he's really use that goop, so to speak, to stretch it out. You got some on his mouth. That's cool. Really think about the light direction. Light's coming from the top. What's it hitting on? Hitting on these surfaces that are sticking out. Where's it dark in areas where it's getting the shadows below it, or it's going indenting in. All right, I think that's kind of cool. Skull looks pretty good. Maybe it's a little bit narrow right here. I want to round that out a little bit. Again, subtleties of knowledge, memorization. This is pretty cool, man. I did think when I saw it, I thought this is a good illustration. It just got to get it needs a little more work. But like I said, you picked a realistic style when you're drawing realism. Ooh, it's not necessarily easy. All right, it's kind of cool. You may like it more, you may not. I don't know. Now, some of these shapes, again, they're just the muscle knowledge. This thing coming way out like that. It's just a little too far up, even if he's a big, strong guy, and even if he's a monster. You still want to keep the anatomy looking somewhat, still kind of humanoid. I like these veins in here; those look cool. Now you got a couple light sources. You're going up and down. This muscle here, make it round. It's not nice rounded shape. Kind of lighting from below a little bit. Now the hands, try to think about making things look more gnarly, bony, gnarly. And again, use the shapes. That's a shape. That's a shape. Don't make them round. Want gnarly, gnarly. Even sharp angles almost. Thumb looks good. I'm really trying to get that super knuckly. So I don't want to make soft edges on this. Even on here, give it some difference in not just one smooth line all around. Think about a little more of a rocky plane, a little more mountainous. So that's better, I think. You can see the difference. Just I'm working at making these things nice and harsh or hard. Let's give a highlight up here. The light's coming from the top. Let's hit it here, here, here. Our light source coming from this side. No curvatures, hardly, or try to eliminate them. Nice big knuckles. Sometimes, like I said, I don't even know if, what, I mean, you kind of know what's underneath. There's bone underneath and stuff, but sometimes you kind of make it up. Doesn't have to be, I say, it doesn't have to be accurate, just has to look good. So I'll pop these knuckles out. Big knuckle sandwich here. So I want, when I'm going around the edges of it, I don't want to just do a curvy line. You can almost do it, like a jaggedy, like that. That's better. No soft edge here. Show that knuckle. Define this with maybe a little bit more fold of skin. Okay, I think this is looking better now. Let's see. Yeah, you can kind of see the difference. And notice what I did. I didn't shade a lot. These are almost white shapes that I'm adding. There's nothing soft about them. There's not much curve, not much. They're not like super sharp edges. They got a little bit of softness to the edge here, but really, they're mostly solid shapes I'm adding. But it looks shiny. It looks strong. Again, think about the shines. You can do this. Again, metallic surface. I have a video on different types of metallic surfaces. You can check it out. Let's see, I'm making a shape out of this. And all of a sudden, it looks highly reflective. Keep in mind when you're doing this, I can see like some of these lines are not, like you're looking at the fist from the sort of a front angle almost. Think about, you got your planes going back like this. It's kind of like a cylindrical. Think of the cylindrical shape of this. So these lines here are really not quite accurate. So I would have to take them out and curve this thing properly to fit that fist better. Trying to think about that as, ellipses. So that's a lot of just thinking through the shapes. So I mean, there's a lot of, you had to go in there and put your your nice lines in there and stuff like that. Again, I don't have time for that, but see where I'm curving these correctly. Maybe I'll do a couple lines here just to sort of make them. This is even it's not the character, but perhaps, but just so you kind of get an idea where I'm going with it. Little edge on that. So everything's got to kind of be done that way a little bit. This looks good. Looks good. A little more interest, in the shapes. And this is, again, study other artists, memorize, learn, copy until you memorized it, and then you can go at it. And then it gets fun because once you kind of like know, have built up all this knowledge, then you're drawing like I'm using all this memorization that I have in my brain right now to of things I've seen, and I'm applying them as I draw. So let's look at this hand now. See if it's improved at all. Well, the hand is pretty good, I think. These veins, I kind of screwed it up, but so they need a lot of work. I kind of messed up your stuff, but now that I messed it up, I got to fix it. That's what drawing is, a lot of just problem solving. Oh, I created a problem for myself. Now I got to try to fix it. How do I fix it? How do I go about it? Can I work this thing until it looks good to me? Add a little shadow of that piece. Watch the chest muscles here. You got a light coming up here. Watch the funny lines. They kind of look a little booby. But think the light direction coming up kind of like in this direction. You're not going to see it's going to hit here and hit and then kind of cast a shadow on the rest of the chest. Especially with reflective lines like this. Again, you think about being a little bit harder. All right, I think I'm getting close to being taking this as far as I want to take it for now because there's rework outside of reworking the entire thing. Um, I think I give you enough to kind of go on with what how I would approach it. See this muscle here, it's not quite working. It's a big muscle there. Then you have the rib cage, and then sometimes you see it more, sometimes you see this curvature less. Now you want to put in those cool ribs and little whatever these little striated muscles are, whatever. They're kind of cool. Add some cool. This is where you get the monsterness when you add a little bit of a rib cage and stuff like that, especially on this highlighted area. That can be cool. But I really want you to think about light source. Where's your light source coming from? You come up here. Oh yeah, from monsters, man. Just think about definitely use the monster. It's a monster. You can use define the rib cage a little bit more. That's what's great about monsters. You can go and do gnarly things, and they can be mistakes, but actually they're not. Because it's part of the monster. Let's see where we're at. Okay, well, I'm at 100. It's an hour and 15 minutes. Now I really watch her gigantic butt here. And it's really it comes down to these ellipses. If you just pull these ellipses in here like this, In other words, a curvature like this. Right now, you've got these going way down here like that. That based on the curvature of that ellipse. Wait a minute, I don't want to draw right on it. So the way you've got this going here, this ellipse is doing this. And that's too large. 'Cause that means her leg is this thick. And that's where you're getting the thunder thighs. So what you want to do is take these ellipses, and I want to bring it in like this, because you've got a line going right through here that you want an ellipse like that. So the curvature should go something like this, and that's where the hip is. So let's bring this in. Get these bands to be curving like that. And you should see in a second how this is going to work better. Get the butt, too big. We're trying to get the thing to be right around here. So we want to bring that butt in. More like that. Because the butt's the biggest part. It's going to taper down a little bit. So okay, that's looking better. I'm just going to throw in some regular, something that's not the costume, because I don't have time to. I want this reflective being to, like, think of it as a cylinder. At the top, at the bottom. Okay, see, I've reduced now the leg successfully, I think. Let's see the difference. Okay. Yeah, see, this leg has come in so far. So, but this, overall, that's got to say the power of this figure is really quite good. And the energy of this figure is really very good, very good. Watch, I've seen people do this too. They dip in a little bit too far. Don't think about these muscles, the way they flow into each other. They don't kind of go in and indent. They do indentation so much as they, especially on a woman. It's very very stick like, very smooth. Okay, that's good. I don't know if there's much more I want to work on this. I think it's pretty good. I think I've got a lot, took it a lot in a direction I want to take it. I hate this face though. I do. It's bugging me. Now you're gonna see my OCD kick in because I'm just like, I don't like that face. Gotta fix it. I think it might be with just the shape of the head. I don't know. Maybe turning the head a little bit. Maybe that was a bit of the problem. I don't know. Yeah, that fixed it, perhaps. Nope, still hate it. Yeah, I think I just need to widen it out or something. You know, I don't like this eye. Use my arrow key sometimes to get a little better precision. Wish I could get that initial feel in your drawing in it. It's funny when you're trying to capture someone else's work, but use your own style. It's very difficult. You want to keep the spirit of the work. All right, let's see if I hate it. I may have fixed it a little bit. Maybe. Hmm. Well, this is how you get better at doing art, guys. Is you obsess over things. You know, I remember when I was first starting out drawing, and I get really frustrated, and I would chuck the pencil across the room because I couldn't figure it out. Like I can't get it right. And then you pick up your pencil because that was a stupid idea, and then you go back and actually get back to work and start to figure it out. But the frustration that you can feel as an artist when you're starting out, oh my gosh, so difficult. because for me, being an experienced artist, I know, okay, the solution is in there. I just got to find it. And the more you do this stuff, the more you get confident that you will find it. You will get to where you want to be. Maybe it's the hair, a little too much on top. Maybe that's it. Wasn't looking cool enough. Slick back a little more. Oops, that's a weird brush. Okay. Kind of like it. Kind of getting there. All right, I'm gonna have to stop because I'm going to drive myself nuts. Um, but I think that I've made some improvements. I think I've made some movements on this thing. Let's get rid of that. I'll probably, I'll bet you any money I'll go back to this after they've done the video, and I'll work on it another another while because I get obsessed with it. I got that doesn't look quite perfectly right. It's got to be right. I gotta get that, you know. And it just like it drives me crazy until I get it right. Then I'll get it right. And I'll be like, yes, that's what I wanted to do. So I'm giving it a little more shape. I mentioned about doing shapes, just trying to define the thing with shapes. Okay, how's it look compared to where it was? Let's see. Okay, now you got a style in yours that looks good. I mean, it's a fun style. It's got your hair's flowing, and I'm drawn more realistically. So it's apples and oranges a little bit, depending on what you like. But hopefully, you can learn something when you see how I'm approaching things, and kind of see if there's something you can take because that's what it is. You try to take from another artist some cool qualities that you liked and some knowledge that can help you. Even if you're drawing with this style, just like make sure these ellipses are all nice, that they're following a ellipse. See, there's these things are straight up and down, but you're drawing it from an angle. So you want to make these ellipses go round from this angle. You want let me do it in red so you can see. Red. That's an ellipse because you're drawing a cylinder from this angle. What that means is all these lines go more rounded. You don't change the um, you don't change the shape of them. They'll still bump, but they'll bump in the angle of the ellipse. So you have an ellipse going like this, and you want all these to kind of follow that ellipse. So that's why it looked good. It looked better. It looked correct. And what you have here, they're going straight up and down, which means you're drawing it flat. Right, three dimensionally. Think three dimensionally. You did it here. That's better. See, but these are too straight. These have some curvature. But even think about here, especially on the ends here, really curving that, bringing it down and curving it underneath. And that'll make a difference in the feel of the piece. It's because it is a cylinder going on an angle. All right, that was a very good cylinder. There's your cylinder. There's your shines. So think about that. Think about all these lines curving around. Even though they're bumps, I'm going to bring them out farther. Control the other side of it sometimes too, if it helps. Okay, I don't think there's anything else here. I think everything is cool. I think the hands. Keep in mind when you're drawing faces, hands, eyes. Those are the things you want to work on and get right. Get that expression right, because that's going to be the thing that really defines. That tells it's where your story is. So, you make sure when you're doing these that you define these knuckles a little more with shading. So we're starting to get that. We're starting to get a little more. Don't make them sausages. Try to make them a little bit. Maybe this one it gets because it's pointed towards you. Maybe it gets the top of it, gets a shadow on it. That can help it. So now I'm getting some depth in there in that hand. David Finch was saying something where you can almost make these things like square. Sometimes in drawing a square because it'll read it as a little bit of curvature, but it gives you the feel of a hard edge, tougher, stronger for men especially. Like this could almost be a straight edge. These almost could be straight edges. But see how I define it, just maybe a little bit of curvature to the edge, but it defines that form. So see that how much stronger that hand suddenly got. Okay, that's enough. So let me know what you think, Jonah. I know it took me only like 2 or 3 months to get to this, but I got on a roll the other day, and I did one of a guy had Sheldon's work, and I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I've been thinking about it in my mind. What do I want? How do I want to? There's a lot here that's subtle. It's the gist of the stuff is here. Everything the energy, and I can't lose that, and that's very tricky to not lose that. So I had to really think about what I wanted to do, and how I wanted to sort of the tips that I wanted to offer. And I think I've done all right. I think I've gotten this. Whoops! What happened to her leg stuff? Did I erase that leg stuff? What happened to it? No, I think I lost the whole leg thing that I fixed. Oh man, that doesn't matter. You can go back in the video and watch it and see where I ended up with. Yeah, because I think I had it on that other layer where I was drawing those red cylinders and I deleted the whole darn thing. Anyways, the hands are still there, which is important, and the faces, and that's important. So you can see those. So hopefully this has been helpful. It's been an hour and a half. Sorry about the length of this one, guys, but it can't be helped. Once I got into that phase, I got a little obsessed. So, anyways, let me know what you think, Jonah, and you guys send me more stuff because I think this is really helpful to see how you guys can see how I'm thinking and how I'm solving problems. This is drawing something is constant problem solving. I have a problem that I'm looking at a hand. I'm looking at this hand up here. Oh, how do I make that more interesting and gnarly and strong? Well, I will have to figure that out, right? So everything, every angle, all these shapes everywhere, they have to be thought through and uh, and memorized. So it's a massive volume of knowledge that you're acquiring, and hopefully the result is something cool. But it doesn't come easy. At least not for me. I'm not a genius, but I just work hard. That's the key, is working really hard. So I'll let this go, and till next time, we will see you guys. And thanks for checking in. Bye.